Hey there guys, and welcome to the video. We're going to be checking out the early reactions for Paddington 3, or Paddington in Peru as it's more commonly known. This franchise is so impressive across the board. The Rotten Tomatoes score for all three films is in the high 90s and is pretty much universally loved between audiences and critics, and it's so impressive what they've managed to do with this little franchise about a bear in a red hat. It's so charming, so beloved, and absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to dive into these early reactions. So before we start, I just want to put this into perspective about how impressive this franchise really is. So just to remind ourselves, on Rotten Tomatoes, I've pulled up the score for all three movies. So for Paddington 1, 97% critic score, 80% audience score. Paddington 2, 99% critic score, 88% audience. And the third installment, which has just come out, 92% from 24 reviews. So, the first movie, 97%, the second movie, 99%, and the third movie, 92%. So, the lowest critic score in the franchise is 92%. If your lowest critic score is 92% in your franchise, then you know that you're doing something right. But that's so impressive. I can't believe it. Every single movie in the franchise so far, 90+%. Absolutely incredible. So, The Lovable Bear is back. Paddington in Peru has the task of following two movies that had a near perfect positive reactions. Plus, the original director, Paul King, sets this one out. So now the film has been screened in the UK. Reactions are hitting social media. How is it faring this time around? Paddington in Peru follows Paddington and the Brown family as they visit Aunt Lucy in Peru. A thrilling adventure ensues when a mystery plunges them into an unexpected journey through the Amazon rainforest to the mountain peaks of Peru. So let's go down, let's jump into these early reactions, and let's check out what people are saying. So the first one comes to us from Paul. Paddington in Peru doesn't hit the heights of 2, but it's still lovely, funny, exciting film that knows the charm is in how earnest the bear is. Olivia Colman, a singing nun, is a highlight. So it doesn't hit the highs of number 2, but number 2, the critic score was 99%. It doesn't have to hit that if it's even anywhere remotely close, and currently sitting at 92%. It's pretty damn close, and yeah, wow. So moving on to the second one, Kalechi, I believe it's pronounced. Paddington in Peru is my least favorite in the franchise, missing Paul King's magic, and dare I say it, I miss Sally Hawkins. However, its heart and intention is in the right place. With Paddington itself never losing its charm, Coleman steals the show. So it seems that Paul King, who directed the first two movies, his absence is felt in this movie. The fact that he's not there, maybe some of the nuances that he brought to these first two movies is possibly missing in this movie, but still, it has the heart and its intention, and it's in the right place. So that's great to hear. Let's keep going down. So from Darren, look, at least Paddington in Peru is the best Indiana Jones film to star Antonio Banderas, so there's that. Paddington in Peru is pretty fine, it's funny and charming, but you really miss the active involvement of Paul King and Simon Farnaby, who share a story credit. So again, there's people highlighting the fact that Paul King seems to be missing. There seems to be that kind of element, that kind of part of the recipe that only Paul King can bring to the franchise, and is noticeably absent. But there's no one here saying anything overwhelmingly negative. They're saying that it's still a fine movie, but it's just that kind of special sauce that Paul King brings is missing. So, from Clarice, sorry to be the bearer of bad news. That's a really bad pun, but it's kind of great at the same time. But Paddington in Peru is kind of a letdown. So this is our first kind of negative early reaction here. So it's saying it's a kind of a letdown. It doesn't go into any more information. It doesn't say anything about the story, the characters, or anything like that. It just says that it's kind of a letdown. Moving on to the next one. Paddington in Peru is an early Christmas treat for the whole family. A wonderful, entertaining, funny and heartfelt movie that rarely puts a foot wrong throughout. Fun, bubbly and truly superb. Pack the marmalade sandwiches and enjoy the ride. I love that. It's a Christmas treat for the whole family. Wonderfully entertaining, funny and heartfelt. Exactly like the first two installments. That's kind of what we've come to expect. This charming little bear. He gets into these funny kind of antics and, you know, just takes us away on an adventure. And it's kind of fun for people of all ages, regardless of whether you're like, you have young kids or you know, older parents. Everyone can enjoy it. And that's what's great about it. So, two things have been constant in newly released reviews for this film. The movie stood no chance against Paddington 2, and that's just fine. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, it doesn't need to stand up to Paddington 2. That's the height of the franchise, 99% critic score. Even if it can get within sort of 10, 15, even 20% of that critic score of Paddington 2, even if it sat around the 70% mark, that would still be impressive for a movie like this. But the fact that it's now sat at 92%, for these 24 reviews, that's damn impressive, and it's still a good movie by all, when all said and done. So, and Olivia Colman comes away as the highlight for the film. A factor that many have pointed out is that Paul King's direction is sorely missed. Again, we go back to Paul King being missing. However, the former series director always aimed to take the hand off the franchise. King stated, "Because there's so much Paddington source material, you can make 50 Paddington movies. I'd be 100 years old and still doing Paddington." I completely understand when you've been attached to a project or a series of films for such a long time. Making a movie, it can take 3, 4, 5 years to make one of these movies. And for him to have done 2 movies, it probably took out a significant part of his life working on those 2 movies. So I completely understand why he wants to hand off the reins to somebody else. But yeah, it's a shame because obviously his presence is being missed. If there was only enough source material to make 2 or 3 films, King said that things might have been different, but he was really pleased with where they left Paddington after the second movie, and that it was time to let go and give somebody else a shot. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's absolutely nailed the first 2 movies, so he was right to sort of end on a high note and hand it off to somebody else. Recently, it was announced there will be a Paddington 4 as well as a TV adaptation. Wow. So we've got Paddington 4 and a TV adaptation coming, so that's really exciting news. We're also working on a new TV series and a new movie to come in 2027 or 2028, said Françoise Goynette, I think that's how you say it, CEO of Studio Canal Kids and Family, noting that 2028 will mark the 70th anniversary of the franchise. Quote, "Of course, the big event for the Studio Canal family is the release of Paddington in Peru." So yeah, guys, that's kind of where we are. So it's overwhelmingly positive from the critics here at 92%. That means for every 10 people that reviewed it, the 9 out of 10 people enjoyed it, which is fantastic. Sitting in the 90% for all 3 movies is absolutely mind-blowing. This little bear can do no wrong, apparently. And yeah, most of these reviews are kind of overwhelmingly positive. There's a few of them. This one here that says it's a letdown. There's another one that says it's the least favorite of the franchise. But, you know, when a franchise is so overwhelmingly good, a movie being your least favorite doesn't really say anything. Because if all the movies are great, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, this is fantastic, guys. I'm so pleased. It kind of warms my heart to see Paddington doing this great at the box office. When it comes to its critic score, when it comes to its audience score. And I hope this movie goes on to generate a nice sum of money and they go into Paddington 4 kind of full steam ahead with the great kind of trilogy behind their belt. But guys, I throw it off to you. You hear these early social media reactions that are praising the movie and also the critic score over here, sitting at a 92%. Does it get you more excited to go and watch Paddington, or is this a movie that's not quite for you and that you might skip it? Whatever your thoughts are on this franchise and this Paddington in Peru movie, jump down in the comment section and leave your thoughts, comments and opinions on everything we've covered here in this video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in the next video.